It begins with a whisper, not from Earth, not from any corner of our known universe, but from a world where sound is not simply vibration through air, but the very substance of reality. A planet not built by tectonic plates or cosmic collisions, but composed, literally, through voice. On this alien world, language is not used to describe creation. It is creation. Words are not passive, they are power. Every syllable, every tone, every breath uttered becomes a force that alters the fabric of existence. Mountains rise from guttural chants. Rivers carve themselves into valleys through whispered mantras. Cities shimmer into being through harmonies sung by beings whose language carries the weight of matter itself. And silence, terrifying, absolute silence, is death. Imagine a place where the laws of physics are written in melody. Where grammar is geometry. Where to speak is to sculpt. And where one wrong phrase, one mispronounced word, could erase a forest, fracture a continent, or collapse an entire civilization. In this world, knowledge is not stored in books or databases, it is sung into memory, echoed into crystal archives that vibrate with the wisdom of ages. Their architects are not engineers, but vocalists trained from birth to shape their surroundings through resonance. Construction is not done with hands, but with harmonies. Healing is not achieved through medicine, but through frequencies that realign damaged tissue, bone, and soul. But here's the most haunting question: what happens when someone lies? On this planet, truth and falsehood are not moral abstractions. A lie doesn't just mislead, it warps. A deceptive phrase doesn't simply fool the mind, it corrupts the physical world. A dishonest sound, even whispered, might twist the sky, bend reality into chaos, or summon storms that tear through language-formed cities. And so, their society is built on vocal discipline, on reverence for sound, on sacred silence when precision cannot be guaranteed. Entire generations are raised not merely to speak, but to mean. To align intention with tone. Because in their world, you don't just speak reality into existence, you bear responsibility for everything you create with your voice. The implications are staggering. Education on this planet is not about memorizing facts, it's about mastering tone, controlling breath, learning the ancient frequencies that build stable matter. A lullaby could shape a lake. A scream could fracture time. These beings do not fight with weapons, they duel with frequency. Wars are not explosions, but battles of vibration, where competing harmonics clash in the air and the loser's constructs collapse in shattering silence. And yet, it isn't a utopia. Because just as every world has its rebels, this one has those who push the limits of forbidden sounds, those who experiment with destructive syllables, who test the boundaries of noise. They are not criminals in the traditional sense, they are unmakers. Outlaws who wield experimental dialects, tonal chaos, weaponized songs. And the greatest fear of this civilization is not invasion or disease, but corruption of the tongue. The emergence of a sound so impure, so unstable, that it could unravel the very foundation of their planet. But then comes the theory, the bridge between their world and ours. What if these beings, these shapers of sound, are not just fantasy? What if this planet exists in a parallel universe, and the faint echoes of their language bleed into our dreams, our myths, our religions? What if our ancient stories of word becoming flesh, of divine speech creating light, earth, and life, were fragments of something real? A memory passed through dimensions? A whisper that crossed the veil? What if the true nature of our universe was once like theirs, and we simply forgot how to speak it into shape? Maybe we did once possess that power. Maybe sound once shaped our world too, before we lost it. Before we traded creation for communication. Before our words became cheap, diluted, emptied of consequence. Here, on Earth, we speak millions of words a day, most of them meaningless, tossed into the air like dust. We lie, flatter, curse, gossip. And the universe seems unchanged. But what if it isn't? What if every word still carries weight, but we've become deaf to its effect? What if, at some deep, quantum level, our speech still shapes reality, subtly, silently, beneath our awareness? You feel it sometimes, don't you? That shift in the room when someone speaks from the heart. That chill when a lie echoes too loud. The way music lifts you, or breaks you. The way a single phrase, I love you, I'm sorry, you matter, can change your entire inner landscape in a moment. These aren't accidents. These are echoes. Fragments of that ancient truth, that sound creates. That sound is. The beings on that alien world never forgot. They never broke the bond between word and world. They kept it sacred, and in doing so, they built a civilization of breathtaking beauty and terrifying risk. Their temples float, held in place by eternal chants. Their forests grow in symmetrical harmony, humming with the songs of ancestral caretakers. Their sky shimmers with light that responds to collective tone, where public gatherings are not riots, but choirs. Where governance is performed not with laws, but with conductors, trained to harmonize the will of the people into the fabric of reality. But it is not without cost. Because when emotion flares, when grief overwhelms, when rage boils over, sound becomes unpredictable. Accidents happen. Reality stutters. Structures fall. Some families live in eternal silence, not out of tradition, but as an act of restraint. A vow to not risk creation through chaos. And yet, some believe the opposite, that only through raw, unfiltered sound can the next evolution of their species be unlocked. These radicals experiment with broken chords, primal screams, unspeakable syllables that twist geometry and melt matter. It's in this tension, between sacred silence and experimental chaos, that their world hangs. A planet forever humming on the edge of either transcendence or collapse. And then there's us, listening from the void. Maybe, in dreams, we hear their songs. Maybe ancient prophets once glimpsed that world and returned with pieces of it, encoded in chants, mantras, hymns. Maybe the Word of God was never metaphor. Maybe it was a lost science. We've long been fascinated by the power of sound. From religious incantations to sonic healing, from Tibetan bowls to NASA's experiments with resonance, from sacred OM to military sonic weapons, we know, instinctively, that sound does something. It changes us. It changes the world. But what if we've only scratched the surface? What if there are frequencies that unlock dormant abilities in us? That allow us, not to build mountains in seconds, but to rebuild ourselves? To repair DNA? To realign the mind? To remember what it meant to speak not just to be heard, but to create? The alien world where sound becomes substance may not be science fiction. It may be a reflection of what we were, or what we could become again. A mirror held up to our noisy, chaotic, overstimulated society, reminding us that words matter. That tone matters. That everything we say shapes the invisible structures of our lives. So the next time you speak, whether it's to a friend, a stranger, a child, or to yourself, remember. You may not be shaping mountains. But you're shaping minds. You're shaping hearts. You're shaping the world. One sound at a time. Because on that distant world, and perhaps in our deepest selves, to speak is to create,